Everyone, Adam here, So What's Your Podcast? I have another interview for you today. I got to sit down with John Fiorella, who is a writer, content creator, movie maker. You might know him from, he made a short film called Grayson about, Dick Grayson, Robin. He made this in like 2004. We do talk about it in the interview, but it was, I would think, one of the first viral fan films of this caliber. Like, it's huge. He went for it, he swung for the fences. And watching it now, because I was unaware of it until recently, this guy was so far ahead of the time. I mean, that was better than anything that DC's doing now as it is, but this was before Batman Begins, this was before Iron Man. This was like maybe around the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I mean, the Joel Schumacher Batman stuff, like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, excellent, but the Joel Schumacher Batman, that kind of lost their way. And Grayson is this grounded, awesome story. Anyway, not to spend all my time on that, he also has an original series now that he's trying to make. It's called Ditch. You can find it on Kickstarter. He is doing a crowdfunding campaign to make the pilot, and he's going to try to get it out there. He has 10 episodes written. He's just looking for the way to make them all. And talking to John and his energy and everything like that, he's going to get it done, and it's going to be awesome. So you probably want to check this out now so you could be there at the beginning. Enjoy the interview. Hey everyone, Adam here, So Was Your Podcast. I'm sitting down with John Fiorella to talk about his Kickstarter campaign, Ditch, amongst some other awesome projects. How you doing, John?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This should be really cool. Before we get to your Kickstarter, Ditch, the one thing I always like to do with creatives is ask to go back to the beginning and kind of how you got your start.
Sure.
So I'd like to start there, but then we're going to take like a little detour because you made I guess it's a fan film, but it's a film also, Grayson. So it'd be cool if we could touch on that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, how far back are we going?
I guess as far back as you want to go.
Stars. Well, I guess if you want to dig in with Grayson, essentially, Grayson stems from years of being in Los Angeles and having agents and managers and taking thousands of meetings and getting so close to having a project greenlit and things falling through at the last minute that my good friend and I, Gabe Sabloff, and a couple other lunatic filmmakers we would just be chomping at the bit to be creative. So Grayson was one of those ideas that I was throwing out there in the universe, and people were like, that's so stupid and that's so dumb. And the more I would hear that, the more I would be like, you guys have to see it. You got to see it because it's there. It could work. So this was one of those projects that we were like, come on, let's spend all our weekends, committing this to film and sharing it with the world. And it was really just a fun exercise on, being creative and wanting to play with cinema. So we put it together, threw it out in the world. And again, before the age of YouTube or HD, we shot on 16 millimeter. So for me at the time, it was an expensive endeavor that turned into Grayson, which, opened some doors and certainly, allowed me to meet a whole bunch of people. And, I'm excited that now it's so embraced by, the fans. I think that's pretty cool.
For sure. One thing to touch on what you were saying, the naysayers, when you were kind of getting the idea ramped up, were they saying it was a bad idea because
Robin? Yeah,
okay.
Robin, you mean like the guy in the little green panties, Robin? Yeah, that's the cool. This guy can be cool. His story. Ultimately, at one point I did meet with some guys at CAA who were like, we want to make this awesome video game, this Grayson video game, but it can't have any Batman in it. It can't have any. And I was like, well, I love that you guys want to do this and have me profit from it if you can get the rights to do that, because I don't have the rights to it. But ultimately, Grayson is a Batman story told through the eyes of Robin. So, as much as people were like, "Oh, you made Robin cool," yeah, it's still a Batman story, and the naysayers were plenty until you do it. You prove that it works, and now I look at it and I definitely see it looks like something a bunch of sixth graders did with today's technology. I would love to, my brain sometimes like, oh, if we could redo that, it would be, and I have the feature length script. So I really want to commit the entire story to film as a Elseworlds or a what if storyline with real actors and, the real deal. But at least it's out there and you can see the concept, you can see the story working enough, because if I don't know, where are you located? What town?
I'm in upstate New York.
Oh, I'm from Rochester, New York. So
I'm near Albany.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we have totally different perceptions of how Hollywood works. I mean, Hollywood, you don't have to just prove that the concept works. You have to show it, and it's pretty much, for me, it's always been prove, and it has always, there's almost like there's never enough. Well, if you only had this other piece or you had this other piece. With Grayson, I was like, okay, enough of that. I mean, because Grayson is just one of a series of other shorts that I've done to prove concepts to studio executives. And of course, I did one for this project called Lombardi because I was talking to guys at Sony, the executives, about doing a Lombardi. They had the rights to a Lombardi feature film, and I was a huge fan. I'd read all these books, and I think he's a fantastic figure. And I met with the executives, and they're super excited. I was like, well, what would it take for you to consider paying me to write the script, because they didn't have a script at the time. And they're like, well, what can you show us? And so it took me a month to put together this short film about Lombardi and all this stuff and all these football players. And I had to have permits because it's LA and insurance and all that stuff. And after the month that it took to create the short, the executive I was talking to quit. He was gone. He dropped off the face of the earth. And I was like, I couldn't even get back into the studio to say, hey, look at this, So anyways, my point was, sometimes you got to go prove that an idea you have works. It's tough because it requires money and time. And at the end of the day, you're like, God, wouldn't it be great if I was doing the real thing instead of just this little snippet, which again is what I did with Ditch, where we just a tiny sliver of what it could be to show people in a world where people have no real imagination. So what will come of it, we'll see. But
I gotta say, I love your approach to, I'd like to do this thing. Let me put my money where my mouth is and make a sample version of the thing to show you that. Like, I love that. Instead of you just being like, why won't anyone pay me to make what I want to make?
Oh my God. I mean, look, I've had storyboards, concept art, posters, show Bibles, all these things, these aspects that people say they want. And then on top of that, you throw down a sliver of what it could look like with no money. And if people still don't get it, it's just like, you lose your mind. But I mean, there's certainly one thing my team and I, what we love to do is just to do it. I mean, this town is just notorious for talking about doing things. Oh, well, I'd love to do this, or I'd love to do that, or wouldn't it be great? I mean, I cannot tell you how many rooms I've been in with powerful people who've made, I mean, for the most part, it's just big productions, but just the talk. So yeah, I mean, you got to be able to pull that trigger and get out there. And you see the content. I mean, if you have a favorite show on Netflix or whatever, you see how much people are producing content. They're actually out there doing it. It's inspiring to me. Like this is another season and another season. And so, I'm most comfortable on set doing, the writing part of the whole process is not fun. You're alone, you're in a dark room, it's your ideas and you're fighting over, which word to use. And so once you get those pages and you're actually on a set, then things come alive. And that's what I love.
That's awesome. And I could, get your energy even over the internet like this, that your passion for it. But just to spend another couple minutes on Grayson, because
sure.
I was unaware of it until I got your email, through So Wizard. So I, of course, checked it out, and I was like, this guy was so far ahead of the times. I mean, you made it was 2004, right?
It was 2004.
The latest comic book thing that I can think of was the Joel Schumacher Batman movies. Maybe the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man by then.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But there was no
So
like true to comic stuff around. Like there was no, even Batman Begins was a year later.
yeah, I mean, Batman Begins did come out after. I mean, I think for me the biggest when you see these comic book movies, they were always told from an origin story, which blew my mind, angered me. I was like, because when you're 5 and you're playing with these action figures, there's no, this is how I became Batman, or it's all gone. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. So, I mean, Grayson is, it's what I love about Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is the character doing what he does. Forget his backstory. I think when you go down those roads, you strip away the mystery. Why do we love Boba Fett? Because we don't know anything about him. So for me, Grayson, it's just like, let's tell the story that Hollywood's not telling. Let's forget the origin story. Everyone knows who Batman and Robin is. I don't need to say, well, then they met and his father did this and that. Nobody cares. Like, give us a new story. And, so that's what another thing that fueled why I wanted to tell the story of Grayson.
Absolutely. That's so awesome. And just to kind of backtrack on your creative journey, even from there, because I watched your Kickstarter video also. So for people listening, it is in there. So it's maybe a little bit of a rehash. But I thought your childhood story was so cool too, where you kind of found solace in a single VHS tape.
It's true. It's true. We had one VHS tape and we didn't actually even own it. My dad borrowed it from a guy at his work. And then that guy quit his job and moved across the country. So we had one VHS tape and it was Raiders of the Lost Ark. And when my parents split up, it really completely blindsided me. I was in the 6th grade. And so at night I would sneak downstairs and I'd put in Raiders and I'd watch it with the sound off so not to wake up my mom, which I think really helped me figure out how movies work. Because with the sound on and this beautiful sound and the John Williams and it's so cohesive. And when you strip that out, and I mean, on the 300th viewing of Raiders, I could see how things weren't exactly lined up. I mean, my 6th grade brain could process, oh, that's one moment in time, and this is another moment in time, and they're butted together. So let me try and do that. And that's really, I mean, and the movie itself was such a wonderful escape, which is what I'm all about. When I go to the movie theater, I mean, I struggle. I'm a decade behind in all the cool Oscar-winning films. I love them. I see them, and I'm like, this is amazing. And everyone's like, yeah, we told you 10 years ago. But that's not why I go. I don't go for, I go for the blow me away, thrill me, take me someplace I can't go, do something I want to see. And so, Raiders was for me the catalyst that it got me through a rough patch, and it showed me that I could attempt something like this. I mean, to this day, I mean, the dream is that someday you make a movie that is somewhere even close to the level of hitting all those marks like Raiders does in terms of story and excitement and execution. I don't know if that's ever possible, but I owe everything to Spielberg and the entire crew of that movie to get me to that point where I was back on my feet and essentially, and it sounds ridiculously corny, but like to try and provide that for the next generation. I mean, I see it in other Marvel movies and DC projects. I mean, not to the Raiders extent, but they come pretty close to the mark. So I'm just trying to pay it back, essentially.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that kind of just pure joy of the movies it's almost faded out, even though we have more content than ever, because it's either trying too hard to deliver a message or it's too far into the ridiculous where it's just like, okay, I can't even,
yeah,
I don't want to name names, but
it's a fine line to create that level of fantasy and magic and keeping everything grounded. I mean, obviously if you look back at the movies in the 80s, not to sound like an old guy, but without the digital ability to do anything, the filmmakers had to use story to, be more creative. And in a lot of ways, I feel like that's what my writing reflects, only because I still process everything I write through economic, visor. Like how are we going to do this with next to no money? So and the one thing I don't have in my back pocket is guys who are digital masters. If I did, maybe that would open up a whole nother avenue of storytelling. But because I don't have that, I'm still, my mindset is always back to, okay, well, we don't need to, sever the moon in half and have it come falling to the earth. We just need to put a bomb in the room. And if the people are real and the bomb is really going to go off, then there's, the excitement in the story.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kind of jump things back forward again, Grayson, awesome, way ahead of its time, but
Thanks.
Someone else's IP.
Yes.
Is that how Ditch was born?
Well, yeah. So Grayson, right after I released Grayson, everyone and their mother wanted to buy it. And I just was like, I cannot sell. Everyone but Warner Brothers. I was like, get me in the door, Warner Brothers. It's your property. But so Ditch stems from me wanting to, own what I create. That way there's no red tape. There's no me saying, well, I can't. There's me saying I can and I will. It's just an avenue, can I get the funds necessary to bring this idea to the screen? And now obviously Grayson, Star Wars, all these Harry Potter, all these, all this content that has existing, fan base, it certainly goes viral a lot faster online, but you got to create your own characters and heroes. And sometimes people, in Ditch, you'll get a one glimpse of what I think this story will feel like and this character will be. Is it enough to excite people to say, oh, I want to see more. I want to know the story. I want to get invested. I don't know. We're going to find out. But and Ditch isn't my first attempt at creating original characters. I have written a slew of, when you're broke and you want to be creative, writing is, for the most part, the best avenue because it's right there.
Anyone can do that, right?
Exactly.
So what was your earliest incarnations of Ditch? Because now you're trying to kickstart a series, which I think is awesome and super ambitious. There's so many markets that I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Was it ever like a comic book concept or?
Originally, Ditch was a 90-minute horror movie. Strictly a horror movie. I was inspired. The idea stems back from 2006, 2007. So we're going way back, ultimately I've written and been pushing other ideas, but this is the one that I'm like, this is the one that if I can get it onto some screen, small or big, people will respond because it's something I want to watch. So yeah, Ditch goes back. It was a horror movie in the spirit of, it was basically my idea. If you take Evil Dead 2 and you take Indiana Jones and you put them together in a movie and it all takes place in one cabin, this is that movie. And I had some investors interested and, we kicked around things and fleshed out a script. But it took so long to get that project to a place where, it could really be made. Money fell out, money came back in, money fell out. Oh, then it had to star Mario Lopez. And I was like, what? No. Again, no offense to Mario Lopez. He's probably a nice guy, but not who I wanted to pay money to see on screen. So eventually, Evil Dead, the Ash TV show comes out, Ash vs. Evil Dead. And I was like, well, now my exciting new take on Evil Dead 2 is, we're seeing it. It's here. It's on the screen. So I took that script and I literally threw it in the trash, kept the title and was like, let me start over with making it more an adventure with some elements of horror and some sci-fi and, a lot of action and make it into a TV show, which it definitely, you can see, there's room. TV is now, the dream because there's constantly making content. And if you have a lot of stories to tell, this is the place to do it. So
from that original script to what you have going on now on Kickstarter, is your main character, is he kind of the same guy? You just changed what he's doing?
Yeah. In the horror movie, you didn't know much about him at all. Basically he found himself in the original movie, he chased a witch into this cabin where there were all these teenage college girls that were, on the weekend. And it was literally splatter fun. It was ridiculous. It was over the top. And I took that character and I put him and I gave him a backstory and a reason to be going on all these adventures. I mean, and so now he's this thief that has been hired to steal these 10 things in order to open this super vault. And it's pretty cool. And, you know, especially because he's flanked by, you know, at this point, we've got Brian Blessed from Flash Gordon, and we've got Julian Glover from Game of Thrones and Empire Strikes Back and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And so to have these two Shakespearean titans like playing off of each other, and just it's so filled with fun and conflict that I think I'm so glad that, you know, see, sometimes you, no matter how much you like a project, you got to be willing to throw it down, rip out pages, start over. And I look back and I say, man, I'm glad I did, because now I'm sitting with all 10 episodes already written, ready to rock, and they excite me. I don't know how we do all of them, because some of them are pretty ambitious, which again is part of a thing that's probably held me back in with the studios, is that my writing reads large. You know, like Grayson. If you read Grayson on paper, you're like, wait, what? How are you doing this? But, you know, I have a filmmaker's brain, so I process everything through this filter of like, this is how I would do it before I actually put it down on paper. So I know it can be done. The question is convincing the people with the money, you know, give me a chance. Let me prove to you that I can make this product and make you tons of money in the process. That's all I want to do, is make the studio executives so much money that they're like, just let him do his thing. Just go.
Right. That's awesome. I mean, I just saw Grayson. I haven't seen your other shorts, and you're already proving it as far as I'm concerned. So hopefully Ditch goes off, because that would be great. And, you know, new franchises are always welcome, especially in the golden age of TV.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I love? I have this article near my desk, and it basically says, it's like, Marvel gambles on two unknown actors in Thor, and it's Chris Hemsworth and dropping the name Loki, the actor Loki.
Oh, Tom Hiddleston.
Yes, and it's all about how they're gambling on these. At the time, that, you know, Chris Hemsworth had been in Star Trek, and Tom is like a super theater, you know, awesome performer. And so I don't know how much of a gamble that was, but to think that it was such a gamble to take these risks on guys who now we look at and they're like, oh, they are, you know, they are the franchise. They are iconic actors. And you make those by taking chances. Again, not a Hollywood thing, not taking chances. It's more of an independent thing, but somewhere out there, if, you know, is there an executive that can see the light? Or, I mean, this is why I did the Kickstarter, to go directly to the fans and say, just give me $1. Just give me, if every nerd out there in the world fellow nerd can just give me $1, then we get enough dollars, we do something, and we're rolling.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And like you said, you got to take the chances, because there was no John Wick before John Wick, and now John Wick is the gold standard of action movies. Like, seriously, I mean, make the thing and see what happens. Yeah. Especially, you're not looking for $500 million.
No, right. I mean, and you know, it's great because I can point to like The Mandalorian. And again, I know it's soaked in Star Wars-ness and it has the greatest filmmakers and effects and everything, but the concept for a half-hour adventure show, it works and people love it. So you pull out, you know, you basically do a raw version of The Mandalorian without all the glitz and glam and super effects, and people will respond. They'll be like, this is great, and I can't wait to see the next one. So, you know, I'm pumped. I am excited. Can you tell?
I can tell, which is awesome. It's a lot of fun to talk to somebody like you in a format like this, because you can just feel that energy.
Oh, cool.
So why don't you tell everybody how they can support Ditch? I mean, it's on Kickstarter, but you probably have more going on. You go to Kickstarter, type in Ditch, it will pop up, and watch the video. If it gets you excited, I mean, throw in $1. If you are in a position where, I know money's tight, believe me, I know this personally. If you can fork over 20, 30, $40, whatever you can put into the pot to get this thing rolling, I truly appreciate it. I mean, we got some really cool swag in there to tell people that, hey, you know, 20 years from now, when they're like, you know, Universal gambles on, you know, unknown filmmaker and his zany idea, you can say, look,
I have proof that I was on board before all these studio guys. So, it just comes down to getting this out there. I mean, the crazy thing is we've had about 40 or so people kick in, which is not a lot. But when you look at how many people have seen it, it's only been viewed about 250 times. So it's like, even I have a Twitter account. You can go to my Twitter account at Mr. John Fiorella. And, again, it's a matter of getting people to see it. I don't know how we get the algorithm to take it and make it so everybody knows it's there. But, I'm trying to, with your help, spreading the word. So the only people I haven't told about this project is my family, because I know my mother will sell her car to fund this thing. Upstate New York mom, she's dangerous. So I haven't told family, but everyone else, I'm excited. Even if you can't pitch in a buck, if you can forward this to your uncle who, likes superheroes, or, anybody who's thinks they're creative and is looking for an outlet, I'm in the same boat with you. So I appreciate all your help.
That's awesome. Well, John, thanks for taking the time to come on. I know you got a lot of things to get to, so I'll let you get on with your day, but I really appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure meeting you. And dude, hopefully, we pick this up in who knows when, but not in the not so distant future. And we're talking about the actual project. So thanks again.
Sounds great. Absolutely. Take care.
All right, man.
I'd like to thank John one more time for coming on the show to talk to me about Ditch, Grayson, his creative journey, his inspiration. Really cool guy, really super high energy. I mean, just talking to him, I feel more motivated to go and attack all of my projects head on. So I can only imagine how it is to work with somebody like this. He's gonna get his project done, I'm sure of it. And to help him out, go to Kickstarter, search for Ditch. It's going to come up. He has a really cool, 4.5-minute video there, so just check that out, and that'll probably sell you on the whole thing if this interview didn't. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Really helps grow our podcast. Really helps us grow the channel. We have a lot more interviews, a lot more new movie coverage. We have unboxings. I'm working on Terrificon coverage. We're finally back at convention, so all that's awesome. Like and subscribe. You're not going to want to miss out. Also, make sure you listen to So Wizard Podcast every single week wherever you get your podcasts. So Wizard Podcast can also be found on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get multiple monthly bonus shows. SoWizardPodcast.com is your resource for reviews, recommendations, videos, merchandise, and more. Love hearing feedback. Drop us a note in the comments. Leave us something on social media. All the accounts can be found after the show and in the show notes. And on a more personal note, speaking of personal passion projects, a really good friend and I have an ongoing comic series out right now called Social Studies. It's a slice of life comedy comic about the high school experience, all the insanity that goes along with it. Chapter 1 just wrapped up. We're actually working on a crowdfunding campaign to help people catch up on Chapter 1, but all the issues are available right now on socialstudiescomic.com. You can find us on social media. It's Social Studies Comic or Social Studies CB across whatever major platforms. Do my best to keep it up. Could probably do a little bit better. But anyway, check it out, socialstudiescomic.com. We appreciate it. Thank you.